Hello there. My name is David, in case you didn't know. So I was here on Friday, Good Friday. It was a Good Friday. And I'm sitting down, eating my food, because, it was a food service. And the pastor comes up to me and says, "Can I talk to you for a sec?" I said, "All right, sure." Inside I was like, "Oh, geez, what did I do this time?" But, of course, that's never the case. Right, Mom and Dad? Anyways, he says, we got some people sharing their testimonies, and I'd like for you to say a few things. Keep it short, like 5-10 minutes. I'm like, all right, cool, I got this. So anyways, this is like near the beginning. So an hour later, I'm like, what am I going to say for 5 to 10 minutes? So I go back and I say, "Hey, Pastor, what do you want me to talk about?" And he's like, just talk about your life, how you became a Christian, your life before, and all that. So I'm like, all right, so here we go. I was born and raised in a Christian home. So, I accepted Jesus at a young age. Actually, I remember the first time. It was at night. I was going to sleep, and I don't know how I got to talking about this with my brother, but my brother Jonathan. Say hi, Jonathan. I don't know if you remember this, but I do. I don't forget a lot unless it relates to school. So, anyways, we got to talking, and he's like, I don't know what happened, but anyways, we decided that I wanted to accept Jesus into my life. So right there, in our bedroom, at who knows what time at night, he had me recite some stuff, and I was like, sweet. That's awesome. Anyways, I also recited the words at church, too. And, I've been growing up in a Christian home for a while, and I was baptized at the age of 7. Oddly enough, a year after seeing my brother Jonathan get baptized. It's very inspiring. I mean, when I saw him get baptized, I thought, man, I asked my parents what it meant, and they said it means that you want to become a Christian, you want to follow God, and I was like, yeah, I want to do that. Anyways, yeah, amen. And another big part of my life is playing basketball. I've been playing since I was 5. Oddly enough, when I was younger, I saw my older brothers playing, Nathaniel and Jonathan, so I wanted to do that too. It seemed like I liked to do what they wanted to do a lot when I was younger. And I just want to say life is good. Thank God for grace. Moving forward, we're going to skip a few years. Roughly 10 or so. All right, so let's go to 2013, February 16th. So I'm there, and I remember there was this SAT meeting, so in the morning, and I had practice after. SAT meeting was in Toronto, practice was in Hamilton. So anyways, all right, cool. I call up my buddy. We arrange to go. We make a day out of it. So anyways, we go to our SAT meeting. I actually still have the stuff in this binder here. And we talk to a guy. Great day. We go out, get some food, go to basketball practice. We showed up a bit late, but hey, who cares? Anyways, so we're there about 5 minutes into the swing of things, and I'm there. I ran through a drill once, and then I'm in line, and then all of a sudden, all the energy just leaves my body. And I'm going to give you a little visual here. So I bend over. I'm just breathing really heavy. I'm just man, I was I'm about to pass out, right? And I just I closed my eyes and said a quick prayer. I said, "Dear God, just please help me out," right? I always do that when I'm at basketball practice. I always say a quick little prayer whenever I need the little, gimme and go there. So anyways, I stand back up, and next thing I know, I wake up, and my dad, my basketball coach are above me. So I'm like, oh man, I must have fainted again. Anyway, so I go to the hospital, and they're like, all right, you passed out. That happens to a lot of people, but You passed out during physical activity. That should not happen, especially since you've done this stuff like hundreds of times over and over. So anyways, we run some more tests. Everything checks out. They're like, hold on. We want to run an echo test on your heart. So this is Saturday here. They said, we'll call you on Tuesday because Monday's a holiday. So anyways, February 19th, I go to my echo test. It's quite weird. I had to get like this weird like gel put on my stomach. It's cold. Anyways, so after sitting there for like 40-something minutes with this cold stuff on my chest and this little like probe running around, like I'll give you a visual with the microphone. It was like this. Something like that, okay? Something like that. Anyways, so we're there chilling, and after we're done, like 45 minutes or something ridiculous, it's forever, the doctor comes in, he takes a look at this screen, and he's looking at this black screen with like variations of black and gray. And he's like, all right, so you got an issue with your heart, where your right coronary artery should be flowing downward like this from your right coronary artery like chamber type thing, but it's not. Instead, it's coming up through your heart, and because of that, when your heart beats really fast, it cuts off your circulation, which could cause your heart to stop. So I was kind of caught off guard. You know, I was expecting to go there and be like, nothing wrong. But first of all, like, I'm looking at the screen and I'm like, yeah, I see what you're talking about. I couldn't tell. I was like, everything looks the same here. Like, it just looks like a black screen with some fuzzy stuff on it. And still, I went back and, anyways, so, yeah, I go back to my second appointment, and he's showing us the screen again, and I'm like, man, I still don't see it. Like, he's showing us this gray screen. I'm like, all right. Anyways, he says, that's not the only problem. He says, your heart's a bit thick, too, but that could just be from physical activity, so we're going to run some more tests, and your blood pressure's a little high, so we're going to run some more tests for that. Anyways, so I go back during March break. Yes, I spent March break in the hospital. Oh, it was only 2 days, though, so I survived. So I go back for my first stress test. I believe that my my blood pressure was around 150, 160 over 70 or 80 the one day I went to the hospital for my second appointment. When I was at my stress test, my blood pressure was 120 over something. And this was after doing some breathing exercises. So we're talking like a major decrease. So I was like, all right, that's good. The other thing was, he said during physical activity, your heart could stop. Anyways, I'm there on a bike, and you know what? My heart didn't stop. I was good. And next day, we go, and we have another stress test. They called it a nuclear stress test. So what happens is they inject me with some fluid. They put like an IV in my arm. I work out a lot. So the lady there is like, oh, you've got good veins. Hold on a sec. She grabs this needle, and she's like, I'm like, okay. And then she's like, hold on, we're going to do an injection. She's like, go walk around for a bit. So I get my injection. I'm walking, and I'm like, whoa. I need to take a breather because I'm about to pass out. Anyways, luckily my brother and dad were there, and everybody knew that, you know, something could happen. This time I actually only just passed out. My heart didn't stop like it did before. So I was okay, thank God for that. Anyways, they're like, oh, I'm not sure if we want to. So the doctors come out and they say, we're not sure if we want to carry on with the test. And then they're like, well, he already got the injection. How about you just sit down for a bit? Anyways, they run the test. And what it was they take nuclear imaging. So after I get the injection, they can take a better, clearer picture of my heart. So anyways, after they take the first set of pictures, they wanted to take a second set after exercising for a bit. So I'm there on a treadmill, and they're like, you got to get up to a target heart rate. I'm like, what is it? They're like, we're not going to tell you. Luckily, I had my ears on that day. It's one of like 5 my whole life. And I hear the doctor say that my heart rate has to get up to 173 to the nurse, and I'm like, all right. So I'm there on the treadmill, and they're like, if you want to set a record here, a 69-year-old lady got up to 13 minutes. And I was like, man, I really want to be that 69-year-old lady. Anyways, so we're there. I hit 13 minutes, and I see my heart rate above 170. I'm like, all right, I've got 2 minutes left, because they said give me 2 minutes when you're going to finish, when you can't run anymore. So I'm like, all right, I'm putting in my 2 minutes right now. So they do the injection, and then after I sit down, go out, eat some food, get my other imaging. Through all of this, the fact that my heart rate went up to over 190 beats per minute, and nothing happened. When they said if I do so much as to get my heart racing, it might stop. But getting it to 192 and it not stopping, I was like, all right, this is good. This is really good. So anyways, right now I'm just waiting on, I had to get a blood pressure monitor, 24-hour blood pressure monitor too. And right now I'm just waiting to hear back from the doctors about everything. So since it's Easter Sunday, I also want to talk a bit about some people who were very encouraging to me. So I remember I was walking home from school one day. I took the long way home because, sometimes it's fun to do that. And I see my neighbor, and he found out about it too. My dad, mass emailed everybody he knew on earth. And he says, you know what? He said, I didn't want to email this to your dad, but sorry, Dad, you're going to find out anyway. He says, a lot of people would have died in the situation where you were last Saturday. That was the day I passed out. He said, a lot of people would have died, but you didn't. And because you didn't die then, this is not going to be the end of you. You're going to be fine. He said, if this was going to be something that would cause your life to drastically alter, you wouldn't even survive back then. He said, that is the hardest part, really. Now I just got to sit along for the ride. And the day it happened, the day I went for my echo test and found out about my heart condition, I actually went to school. It was funny. I had a test, but I was like, nah, I don't want to write that. I went to school, and my last period teacher, we're pretty close. His name's Mr. Dobrowski. He's this really tall, Polish dude. And I told him about my condition, and he says, oh, man, that's terrible. And a few days later, he says, you know what? My son has a heart condition, too, and he's going to get surgery when he's older, but you know what? He's going to be fine, and you're going to be fine. I know it. And he said, I'm going to give you this little medallion here. I don't know if you can see me holding this. Just come up to me later and just tug on my neck, and you can see it. And he says, you know, you're going to be fine. So anyways, that was on a Wednesday or something. So a few weeks after this happens, I'm like, all right, I got to go back to basketball practice, talk to my teammates, let them know what happened, let them know I'm alive, all that. And soon after it happened, the incident, one of my, I don't really know the word to describe him. He's the father of one of my friends on the basketball team. He's always there at tournaments, and he calls all the people that play his sons, and he says, he sends my parents an email. He says, how's my little buddy David? Anyway, so I see him, and he says, you know what, David, you're going to be fine. And I was really encouraged by him. He says, if you need anything, let me know. His name was Mark Spura. And my coach, he's a Christian guy too. And he said, he says, I'm praying for you, David. You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine at these stress tests, which I was. He said, you're in great shape. You got it. No problem. And so anyways, I'm there. And I shook all my teammates' hands, gave them all hugs. And I saw my buddy's dad, who's also my buddy. Everybody's my buddy. Praise God. I just got to know you enough, and everybody's my buddy. So anyways, his name was Mr. Brower. So I shake his hand, and he says, I hope everything goes well. And my other buddy's dad, Boss Toic, my family can all start laughing now because they know he's a character. He says, I don't hope. I know you'll be all right. There's no doubt in my mind. And I said, thank you. He says, you know that? He looks me in the eye. The most serious this man has been in his whole life. And he says, you'll be fine. Anyways, moving forward again, right up until last night, the rest of the day I was chilling. I was bored out of my mind, so I'm like, you know what? I'm going for a walk. I talk about doing stuff a lot. So I've been talking about this walk for about a month now. I finally geared up. I took my walk. So I walk around, and just when I was on my way back home, I decided to cross the road and go on the other side, which would actually be longer. And then when I got near to the last entrance to get into a side street that leads to this park I like to go to a lot, I decided to go there. I thought, hey, my phone died. It's getting dark out. But my parents, they'll be all right. They're not going to worry about anything. Anyways, so I go. I get to the park. It's not really a park. It's like a bridge I just went to. It's called Silver Bridge. And I'm there about in the middle of the bridge. Yes, Pastor, I'm almost done. And I'm there, and I lean over the edge of the bridge like this. And I'm there, and there's this voice in my head, and it said, David, you already know that you're going to be all right. And the hardest part is over. You survived the hardest part. You just got to stay along for the ride. And I said, all right. And he said, go home. It's getting late. Thank you. God bless.